All right, I'm here now. I can hear. Hello, hello. I I can hear you guys. I can hear you. Okay, okay, that's cool.
Welcome once again to the Athletes United experience on the Edge Radio Network, where truth still matters. I'm your host, Big Mel, and as always, I'm joined by our co-host, who is a former, listen, this young man brings the credentials as a former Houston Rocket, former Harlem Globetrotter, former international basketball sensation. We're talking about my own blood, Big Sonny, the great Lorenzo Johnson. How you doing, Big Sonny? Huh? That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Happy to have you once more. You and I have talked several times on this platform about various regions of the country that seems more inclined to produce outstanding athletes, great basketball players, stars, and memorable people in world sports. It's no coincidence that it also turns out that most of those regions are heavily populated with African Americans. Seems that, however, that's where we typically get most of our great athletes. One area in particular is what is fondly referred to as the city, Chicago, Illinois. And with that in mind, I want you to sort of give us a pre-op on our next guest here. So, in your hands, big son.
Absolutely. Hey, everyone, so today, Rick Booker.
Rick Booker.
Of
All right. All right now. Indeed.
Chicago, Illinois. Rick Booker was the number one point guard in Chicago in 19.
Wow.
My friends, that's saying a lot. But the city has produced a lot of great guards annually. So, that being said, make sure Rick was coached by the late legendary coach Gary Adams,
Gary Adams.
who also coached A. Quentin Richardson, Rico Hill, many other division.
So he comes in strong pedigree without question. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Britt, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear y'all. How y'all doing, man?
Fantastic. We know you have on your Hoopville t-shirt and that kind of thing. But
Oh, no doubt.
tell us a little bit about the neighborhood hoops, where you're from.
Oh man, the city of Chicago. I'm from Cooper Park, which is located in the middle of the city. Um, Man, great athletes, man, great athletes, and you had guys like myself, Rico Hill, Quentin Richardson, Gary Adams. That's where we met Gary Adams at. He was our eighth grade basketball coach. and that led on from me to Rico to Quinn to Dwayne Wade
Wow.
and Deion Parker, Watari Marsh. I mean, he literally had about 15 to 20 Division I or pro athletes, man.
That's a lineup. That's
Yeah.
quite a lineup. Some of those names you mentioned there are legendary in their own right. Yeah, in that city.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Cash this, do you think Quinn like this on
Definitely, man, because the neighborhood is predicated on it's the ghetto, it's the hood, and it's just predicated on toughness. It's all about toughness, and
Mm-hmm.
once you can gain that mental toughness, you feel like you can go anywhere, and it's amazing because this time last year, Quentin Richardson and I know you guys should be familiar with Nancy Lieberman. They
Oh, yeah.
came and put a brand new court down, and now it's got glass, fiberglass all across the court. Now it's just, man, it's amazing, man.
Hmm.
Compared to when we were out there, but it's real nice. It got Nancy Lieberman name on the ground with a Quinn Richardson logo. So, we're trying to get the park back to where it was when guys
Indeed.
like us grew up.
Indeed.
how Chicago
Hmm.
There, I'll tell you what, the legends abound, and there's no end to the stories and the legacies of some of the guys that I was familiar with as a youngster. Cassie Russell, starting with guys like that, that would make actual public service announcement on WGN, W. Vaughn. Parents, Cassie Russell will be at A&P today at noon. I mean, this is a high school ball player, okay? But that's just the kind of popularity he carried. Britt, I want to ask you a question because it's kind of a long-standing meme that a lot of great Chicago ball players' careers were cut short by the Chicago knee, if you will. Youngsters grew up perhaps a bit older than you. They played on blacktop.
Right.
Didn't have access to great gymnasiums in summertime. But they played on the blacktops and with the kind of style and quickness and handle Chicago ball players are known for. A lot of them developed a bad jumping knee, if you will. How did you avoid that?
You know what, man? Growing up in this city, it's definitely based on the toughness, but you kind of get that pass when you're a basketball player or athlete, period.
Uh-huh.
So you get a chance to kind of avoid, a lot of the negativity that may be, that definitely comes about in Chicago,
Yeah.
playing on the blacktop and things of that nature. So,
Uh-huh.
if you were smart enough to pick that up growing up,
Uh-huh.
you used it to the T. Because if you didn't, you'll find yourself in some things that really ain't got nothing to do with you.
Uh-huh.
That
Sports writers are still debating as to whether they are the greatest high school team in Illinois for certain. Perhaps in the United States, certainly. The team was from the Chicago area of Dothan, Illinois. Thornridge, the Thornridge Falcons of Quinn Buckner and Boyd Betts, that entire group. They had 6 D1 guys, 7 D1 guys. The 2 guys coming off the bench played D1. They had a 2-2-1 UCLA style full court zone press that looked like 9 guys were out there. And it produced buckets in droves. You throw it in bounds, they'd steal it and lay it up and hand it back to you. You throw it in bounds, they'd steal it and lay it up and give it back to you. This would go on repeatedly until your coach exhausted his timeouts for it. But we all know how the Illinois High School Association state tournament are typically nail biters. Some great teams show up, and games are won by last second shot in triple overtime. Really thrilling games. No. Thornridge had everybody down 25 at halftime. It It was a matter of how much. And great teams showed up, great teams. And the closest anybody came to them that entire year was 17 points, Chicago St. Patrick. What kind of reflections do you have on a club like that? You've had some great teams come out of that city. Corey McGetty's team and Ronnie Lester's team. Come on, man. All of those great teams out at DuSable and Dunbar. And what's this latest thing, man, where Big Ben came from? What's that high school?
Simeon.
Up north. Come on, man. That school produced D. Rose. That school produced the all-time leading scorer for University of Illinois.
Yeah.
Come on, Nick.
Deion Thomas.
Yeah, Deion. Come on, brother. So how can a club like Thornridge remain such a legacy and a legend to this day?
Well, I'll tell you this, because I can go on with this one. You got about, with that Quinn Buckner class, with his team, you had about 7 Division I athletes. But you know, we might have to go by eras on this one, because during my time, Peoria Manual. Now, they're not in Chicago, but they're about an hour and a half away. And when you talk about just the state of Illinois, Peoria Manual won the state championship. Their point guard was Howard Nathan, who's number 1 point guard in the country at the time. But he won 4 state championships: freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year.
That's outrageous.
Now, and that's tough. But then we go back to Proviso West. Now that was a tough team. You had Donnie Boyce, who played in the NBA. He also played at University of Colorado. On that same team was Michael Finley. We all know what Michael Finley did in the NBA. Also on that same
wait.
team,
Hold up. 1 second. Hold up.
Yeah.
I believe I heard you say Proviso West.
Yes.
Do you mean Proviso East?
Proviso East.
Oh, okay.
Proviso East.
We're talking Illinois here. All right, big time. We're talking. Yes.
Sorry about that.
All
so
right.
you familiar with that team, right?
Come on. Listen.
Okay.
Doc Rivers, prominent now. Doc Rivers had an uncle play for Proviso East when they first came to prominence. Their thing was ball control. They would beat you 26-19.
Yeah.
If you were fortunate, you scored 30 points. You were extremely fortunate to score 30 points in that club. But the winning margin was going to be in 8 or 9 points, and they scored 35, and you scored 27. It was that kind of thing. His name was Jim Brewer, Jimbo, or what they call Big Papa. Papa Brewer.
Hey, do you remember when Martin Luther King was number 1 in the nation?
Come on. With a couple of the big fellas. What was their name?
Yep. Rashad Griffin, Thomas Hamilton.
Griffith and Thomas Hamilton. And who was the 6'7" wing on that club?
Gerard Bensley. You had Gerard Bensley, Thomas Hamilton, Rashad Griffin. And then they had a Chicago legend by the name of Michael Herman. Who ended up playing and getting Big Ten Freshman of the Year. And then he kind of faded away a little bit. But, man, he was tough. That's a tough team, too. That's why, somebody like me, I'm like, we got to go by maybe some errors here, because I didn't get a chance to see Thornridge, but not too many people even have 7 Division I athletes on one high school team.
Well, Sonny, go ahead, please. Well, let me just say this. He mentioned King High School. King was a magnet school, a kind of a vocational school. Their coach, the legendary and late Sonny Cox, was the coach of the team. Not only that, he was the vice principal of the magnet program. So his occupation was to recruit students to the various vocations and developmental programs they have there. And his thing always was, that's all I'm doing. I'm recruiting students for these various vocational programs. Just that most of them happen to be 6'7" or better and can play some basketball. So I thought that was very unique on his part. Yes. But it's 14 minutes after the hour now, and we're going to take a short station break and be right back with the great Britt Booker. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hold on. Where truth still matters. As a side note, viewers, the Art and Jazz Fest voter registration drive, and as we were talking about this earlier, will be held right here at the Midtown Bar and Grill, September 26th, beginning at 4 p.m. That is the Art Jazz Fest voter registration drive. So come on out, prepare to complete your civic duty, and vote your consciousness. Okay. As we broke, we're talking to Dr. Crystal Mark here, and she had.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
And we're back. We were talking to Britt Booker of the Athletes United Experience with the Edge Radio Network, where truth still matters. Britt, we got a couple questions for you. I mean, man, you had accolades galore, and we're going to touch on it a bit back with you and Big Sonny here.
Let's talk about
No doubt about it.
Isaiah Thomas.
Zeke,
Tim Hardaway.
come on now.
Also,
Mm.
so Brett, I want to know about your area. All the point guard. Go hands up. Best in the nation. New York, Chicago, LA.
Huh.
Speak to that.
Oh man, well, since you touched on the New York part, I gotta go there too. So, you know, at our time,
We're having a volume issue right here.
okay.
But, Sonny, you brought up some stellar names there, some outstanding names there. And guys like Tim Hardaway and Isaiah Thomas, and set the stage for ball players, I'm sure, like Britt and the class that he emanated from. But you're right. that city has produced some guards and sensational floor leaders that are unmatched. Oh yeah, I recruited Isaiah Thomas. I was head junior varsity coach at Southern Illinois University and assistant varsity coach. And Zeke was on everybody list, of course. I had the distinction of recruiting Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, Ralph Sampson, Sam Bowie, James Worthy, Sleepy Floyd. we can go on with this. And but we're going to take a station break here for a second so we get some technical things corrected.
Between the ages of 0 and 5, a child's mind is very impressionable. Researchers call it the theta brainwave. This low frequency is the state of consciousness between the conscious and subconscious worlds. In this state, now you have lived a lifetime. What advice would you have for your younger self? What risks?
The late Gary Adams wanted me to go.
Mm-hmm.
So Martin Luther King was number one in the country. And he actually, Coach Cox put me on varsity as a freshman. And then I ended up going over to Brother Rice High School.
You played varsity as a freshman at King and you transferred?
That's that question hunts me when everybody see me in Chicago. But yeah, I guess, man, I just, in my heart, I didn't want to separate, from Gary Adams.
Sure.
And he wanted me to go to Brother Rice. And then the gang violence is so tough here in Chicago, where that particular part of the city I wasn't from.
Mm-hmm.
And on that Martin Luther King, I was one of the guys that wasn't 6'7" or better.
Sure.
So, I kind of felt like, I don't know if I should go here. And a lot of people, and my family was just a little worried about the neighborhood of Martin Luther King. So I ended up going to Brother Rice High School.
Oh, fantastic.
But I ended up becoming a Hall of Famer. And
there you go.
2 years in a row, my junior and senior year, we went 26-2 back-to-back years. So that was pretty good.
You went downstate?
We did not. We lost the Super Sectional 2 years in a row, man.
Hard to get out of the city.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out of the city.
Yeah. It's hard to get out the city, man. So,
wow.
Yeah, we didn't, but, we had 2 great years. So,
who were the prominent Illinois high school teams at that time?
At that time, Farragut, because Kevin Garnett
KG.
moved here my senior year, and all the rankings just changed when he moved.
Oh, sure.
Everybody who was number one went down a notch.
Wow.
And it was really that real, man. It was the difference in being the number one point guard in the state and then him being the number one player in the country.
Yes.
It was just wasn't the same. And to this day, I haven't seen a 7-footer like KG to play that hard. He played so hard, like he had the little man syndrome.
Yeah.
And it paid off. It paid off.
Definitely.
Now, that was a kid there with KG, who was there prior to KG. What was his name? 6'4", 6'5".
Ronnie Fields or something?
Ronnie Fields.
Yeah.
Ronnie, the legendary Fields, the Michael Jordan of Chicago high school basketball.
Yes, indeed. I understand that it was
God.
largely through his imprimatur, if you will, that kept me wound up there. They somehow met each other during AAU
play. Most of the guys in my class, you either went to the Adidas All-American camp or the Nike All-American camp.
Yes.
I got invited to the Adidas All-American camp, but Ronnie got invited to the Nike All-American camp, and that's where he met KG at.
I see.
and they became friends. Next thing you know, KG flying up to Chicago in the summer, playing AAU with Ronnie.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he transferred to Farragut.
I understand
And that's
his
when
mother,
it all changed.
I understood that his mother landed a very good job in the Farragut district somewhere, coincidentally.
Yeah, that's how Chicago goes. It's a business.
It's a business.
Yeah. We
That's
want
all
a 7-footer. We'll take care of your mom. You get here, and that's exactly what happened.
My God.
I want to dive back into that. I know you talked about the Adidas camp. You went to the Adidas camp, right?
I went to Adidas All-American camp. Yeah.
Okay. What are some notable guards that were there when you were there?
Oh man, Shamgar Wells, Stephon Marbury, Chauncey Billups. You had Wayne Turner, Paul Pierce. Man, I can keep on going. But those were the top that's just stuck out, and you just saw the difference in them guys, man.
Let's talk about these young athletes for a minute as a sector. If you've noticed recently, the Big Ten has decided they're going to play football starting next month after earlier saying they were suspending the season. This coronavirus thing is very real. If 190,000 deaths in the last 6 months don't make a statement, I'm not sure what would. Football is the ultimate contact and mingle kind of sporting event. Brett, who was in the room for the athletes when that decision was made? I mean, obviously, there's moneyed interest there. There's university foundation and preservation interest there. There's endowment interest there. Who is speaking for the folks who are likely to catch this particular virus or transmit this virus back home to grandma? Who's speaking to them?
You know what? That's a real unfortunate thing because no one's speaking for them.
Wow.
You know, these universities is losing money. And as we all know, even when we go back to our era with me and Lorenzo at Colorado State, we actually had a Black Alliance class, and they talked about this class that me and Zoe had. One of the topics were whether or not college athletes should get paid. And at that time, we some of us was torn in between, like, well, we are getting a scholarship, this, that, and the other. But then we started getting a little more educated. And we we playing in front of 12, 14,000 people a night at Moby Arena. We bringing this crowd. We playing on ESPN a couple times a year. And then our football team, coached by the legendary Sonny Lubick, we're putting 40 to 50,000 fans in the stands. And it's nice where we can't eat. We ain't got no money to eat.
Isn't that interesting?
So when you go back to answer your question of who's speaking for them, it's pretty much the university and the higher ups who's making money off these athletes.
That's incredible. And that discussion is going to be had. It's already in the dialogue, and I'm proud to note that there are a few young athletes have become advocates. Just a few years back at Northwestern University, there had a quarterback there by the last name of Tolan or something like that. Sharp young character who decided he was going to use the student part of his student athlete status to study labor relations. And he discovered, to his surprise, that the journey of an athlete, the status of an athlete, indeed the entire miasma of athletes at the university, met sort of the criteria of being an employee, unpaid employee with no benefits, employee that has no input on his working conditions. And he raised that issue to the National Labor Relations Board. They knew he was right, but they knew they were killing a golden goose if they made a decision in his favor as well. So I think moneyed interest in politics intervened and prevailed. but I was so proud of him. And somewhere he's still working that issue privately, son. And that's big time. That is big time.
Absolutely.
But take it away, Sonny. I'll get to.
Yeah, let me take the next one. All right, I got a very good question coming up. I understand your father was a great basketball player in his own right. I know this is a subject that's near and dear to you. I'd like for you to speak on that for a little bit and tell us a bit about his basketball achievements. By the way, one of the coolest cats I ever met, man.
Well, I tell you, my dad is originally from East St. Louis, Illinois.
East St.
East St. Yes, and he was
Okay,
a
before you go any
four-letterman
further, Britt,
athlete.
before
man.
you go any further, you have to distinguish: was it East Side or Lincoln?
It was Lincoln. He went
Yes.
to the real school.
Yes.
See, they tore Lincoln down and made East Side. He
I
went
heard
to the
that.
real one.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
and it's so funny, man, because that's where my Hoopville brand is at. But my dad was he was all state in football, basketball, baseball, and track.
Wow.
He went to Langston University on a baseball scholarship.
Oklahoma.
Ended up playing basketball and baseball, and then he got drafted by the Cardinals for baseball, and he ended up playing for the Harlem Globetrotters with Marcus Haynes and Lenny Wilkins.
Wow.
Yeah,
Come on, son.
yeah. I still got his Harlem
perfect
Globetrotters
pedigree.
shorts, man.
Is that right?
I wish I'd have had the jersey, man. Yeah, I got the shorts though.
Is he still with
Yeah.
us?
No, he passed away about 12 years ago, man.
All right. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Hell of a landscape, son. I mean, come on.
Man.
That's pedigree there.
Man, when I first met Britt, I got a chance to meet his father, and I was just blown away by everything he just shared. I mean, you're talking about multiple sports, and then on top of that, you got drafted to play baseball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
Which has to be one of the most difficult games we play. To hit a fastball, to hit a curveball. I promise you, most of us can't see a curveball.
Absolutely. Yeah.
90 miles per hour.
I can't wait to dive into this next question.
Go for it. Go for it.
Pops, I know you're from the great state of Illinois, where
Uh-huh.
basketball.
For whatever reason, gravitate toward that sport and produce some outstanding athletes. But I'm going to talk about what we did back in state tournament play. I had a high school teammate, in fact, my best friend. I was a freshman, he was a senior, and much like yourself, I was a freshman playing varsity basketball. A relatively all-star team that had been to state tournament the year before and lost to Crane Tech by 1. His name was Lester Taylor. Lester was a 6'3", 190-pound center.
My
And I'll give you a stat line one night in a very tough game. How about this? 43 points, 38 rebounds, 9 blocks.
Tough.
This is not some, mercurial legend that I'm throwing out there. As they say nowadays, you can look it up. You can Google it, man. You can go into Illinois High School Association records, and it's there. Because the rebound total lasted probably a good 10 years. You're probably not familiar with Doug. Doug wound up going to Illinois State University, 1972 Olympics.
Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, became Chicago Bulls head coach. His little son became Northwestern head coach when they made a good trip to the journey of NCAA a few years back. But he was a phenomenon. He went to school at 6'3", caught mononucleosis, laid around for 6 months or so, grew to 6'7". It's a point guard. Awesome shooter, blazing quickness. Julius Erving and he looked very well together with Philadelphia. His career was ended abruptly with a knee injury. But Illinois produced those kind of athletes. Quinn Buckner. Let me tell you about Quinn Buckner's journey briefly. They lost one game in 2 years. One game. That's how awesome they were. But that one game they lost was the championship in the Carbondale Holiday Tournament. Semi.
Ooh-wee.
And they lost to
Yeah.
a team from a little tiny town called Mount Meridian. Unfortunately, and they developed these signs that said "Bring on Meridian" for next year. But the state of Illinois divided classes that following year, and of course, Mounds was a very small school, so they never had opportunity to face a Thorn Ridge later. But that was the only game they lost, miraculously. Coincidentally, my team was in the finals that night, so we beat the team that beat Thorn Ridge. So we tell ourselves we would have beat them damn Thorn Ridge Falcons. Here's the problem. The following year, we faced those Thorn Ridge Falcons in the championship of that tournament, and they put on that full court press. We were up 15-3. So they were coming down court, setting up with us. They had a center that was 6'8" and barely weighed 180 pounds. I'm all of 235, 240 pounds at the time. He was catching hell with me. They're setting up with us, and we're scoring on them. We call a timeout once. Some kid had hurt his ankle. And when we come out, they're in that vaunted 2-2-1 press. I stood back at the end of it and watched them score 35 straight points. They beat us by 35. The team was overwhelming. They really were. And well coached. Led by, of course, the great Quinn Buckner. And try to imagine this now. In your era, it was probably common to see a big 6'3", 6'4" guard or something like that. In my era, those guys played down low. Quinn was a 6'3", 215-pound point guard. He'd catch a little high school point guard, man, 5'11", 150, and wear him out on the low post. He was that awesome. This brother had a full mustache as a high schooler. I thought he was about 35 years old. But they came to town with the kind of PR that would rival some rock star group. These kids were 17, 18 years old. They had women 35 and 40 years old trying to find out which hotels they're living in. It was phenomenal, just something off the charts. But Illinois high school produced those kind of legends. Yes. You spoke of Peoria Emanuel. Everybody's had a shot at Peoria Emanuel, and the great coach of Stryok gave way to one of his former players, and I can't remember, what was his name? His son played for him. His son played for him. He was the star of the team when they won a couple of championships.
And he went on to play at Illinois.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot his name. Yep, he played at Illinois, too.
He beat a Carbondale team in the championship. Troy Hudson.
Ooh, don't even get me started on Troy Hudson.
Come on. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit more. We're going to get into that a little bit when we come back from the station break. It's 42 minutes after the hour, and we're talking with the great Britt Booker about Illinois high school basketball. And we're going to come back and have him give us some of those legendary tales. Thank you very much.
All right.
Well, hello out there. Hey, my name is Dwayne Hines with Real Talk Real Estate, along with my sidekick,
Damian Hughes.
Hey, and we are the Double D's of real estate. So look, if you're out there and you've been interested in owning a home, but you've been getting run around and you don't know how the process goes, hey, dial the number on the bottom of your screen. Give us a call. Get some real talk, real solutions on all your real estate concerns. We are the Double D's of real estate.
Be sure to catch us every Wednesday on Edge Radio at 11:30 for Real Talk Real Estate. D. Hines, Damian Hughes, the Double D's.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
Yeah, that was earlier. It's good now. Yeah, it's been good for the last, 30, 40 minutes.
And welcome back. We're on our last segment here, Sonny, with Athletes United Experience on Edge Radio, where truth still matters. And we're talking to the legendary Britt Booker, and he's involved with an enterprise here, Sonny, that you know a little bit about. And I'd like to have him devote some time here to making us aware.
Absolutely. So, Britt, I understand that you're the owner of Hoopville Basketball.
Hoopville.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Here I am today where, I got a nice AAU brand. I have 2 semi-pro teams, and then I also have my men's team that competes in the TBT, the $2 million tournament, every summer,
Huh.
on ESPN. So we've grown, man, since our first was just throwing the name out there.
Sure.
We've grown, man.
Speaking of teams,
So-
how many teams do you currently have?
Currently, right now, I have 4 teams. We've had in the past up to about 15. But right now, I have 4 teams, and I have another team that's being developed. If that kid is a Division I athlete, or whether it's high major or mid major or low major, most of the shoe brand teams, they're going to attack that. They're going to try to recruit that kid from my brand. And it's really because, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, shoe brand teams,
Sure.
if they're going to give an AAU team or a team owner money to represent their brand, they want the best players, period. That bottom line, they're not going to give out, $100,000 for a summer and you don't got the best players. Well, me, I've always had at least 5 to 6 of the best players.
Mm-hmm.
And so what ends up happening, they'll come and they'll put pressure on them families saying, hey, if you really want to play at the highest level Division I, you pretty much need to leave Hoopville, come on over to my brand. And then what ends up happening to that player was probably getting recruited by Kansas when he was with me. But then when he go and join the shoe brand team, he might end up signing with like a low major Division I versus he would have got the high major with me, because when he go over to the other team, he ends up being pretty much on their bench, being like their 9th or 10th man most of the time. Where on my team, he was the man.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of it's kind of a messed up deal. It's one of the things I'm not a fan of in the business that I run, but I understand it. But I'm not a fan of it because, again, it ultimately hurts the athletes in the end. You know, you can go from getting, and that actually happened. Obviously, I won't say no names, but you go from getting recruited from Kansas and a Bill Self throwing you a deal right here on the table, and then you go and join what you would consider, a better brand because of the things they're giving out, the travel that they're giving out. Now you make Kansas' job harder because now you've been exposed to Duke, North Carolina, and all these other places, but they come watch you play and they're not seeing you on the court. So now you end up at a low or mid-major. Well, if you stayed at Hoopville, it wasn't just going to bring up the Hoopville brand. You were going to actually get what you deserve, and you were going to have your confidence. So I've been seeing it. I've been doing it now for 19 years, and I've been seeing it for a while. Yep.
That's an excellent answer. I really appreciate you being honest about that and sharing your experience there. Next question. You want to take? Okay. Something that I often talk about nowadays, I think that weighs more heavily. I think student athletes have a better chance of being recruited for college via an AAU team as opposed to their high school team because of the traveling that the AAU presents. It provides exposure for the kids. You care to speak on that? Great. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Well, the exposure is out there. But it's weird because in the city, like right in the, you guys can see me in the city, like right here in Chicago. Actually, it's you could play for Simeon, Whitney Young, Thornton High School now. You can play for high schools like that now and actually can still, get the notoriety that you're looking for. But overall, playing Nike, EYBL, Adidas Gauntlet and stuff like that, athletes are getting that. They're getting recruited more because they're
Brett, we're at the last minute hour here on the Edge Radio Network. Well, we're grateful to have the pleasure of visiting with you, the great Britt Booker, who brings the accolades and pedigree that most young athletes dream of. And he's giving back. He's paying forward. He's doing things that benefits those in need and those who will absolutely appreciate it and return it geometrically. So this game is in good hands, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
So, on behalf of the Athletes United experience on the Edge Radio Network, where truth still matters, I'm your host, Big Mel, speaking for my son here, Big Sonny, the great Lorenzo Johnson. We will see you all next week about this time. And thanks a lot, Britt, for being here.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
Right.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right.
It's a wrap. We crushed that one. I think we crushed that one. What do you think? We crushed it. Yeah, good deal. You say we ain't gonna do a second.